All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we are actually live with a multi-award winning, multi-platinum. This individual is one of my favorite individuals to ever grace the music industry. We got DJ Kane right here, live on the line, man. How are you doing this evening?
What's up, my brother? All good, man. I can't complain. Another day above ground is a blessing for me, my brother.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, that's the best way to be, in my personal opinion, man. Especially with these past couple of years, man, have been hectic for everybody.
Dude, it has been crazy. I had a lot of close friends and family that passed away from the COVID, so it's real. It's real, and it's out there.
But I know you're a busy guy, Kane, so I'm going to dive right into this interview, man. But I want to take you back to the beginning of your amazing career this far, and I have to ask, man, what actually inspired you to get into the music industry initially?
I started off, my father is a musician, but I was in New York. I come from New York, so when I was 2 years old, I moved from Houston to New York, and I lived there till I was 14. And in New York, my stepfather would always play, like, when you get together in New York in a party, they play congas, they bring timbales, they bring, like, percussion stuff, and they just start chanting and start making music out of nothing. So I kind of got into it right there with the percussion stuff because I'm literally a percussion player first. And so I started, just kind of learning the lead modes in the percussion side. And when I moved to corporate, I started getting more into it. But then I fell into the love of reggae music. Reggae music is that's my forte. That's what I love the most. That's what I started off with. That's what A.B., which, if you guys don't know, A.B. Selena's brother, A.B. Quintanilla, he picked me up off of a show I was doing in Corpus Christi at a club called the Yucatan. And at the Yucatan, I was singing background vocals for a band called Natural Mystic. And he was there, so I decided to throw a little reggae rap and bitty bitty bomb threw that in there. And after that, man, I ended up singing Spanish. I didn't know nothing about Spanish, so my whole thing is just music, different genres of music that I fell in love with, because the different ritmos, the different styles of music, and I brought that to the table with the Kumbia Kings, and that's why if you listen to the Kumbia Kings, there's singing, there's reggae, there's rap, there's a little bit of everything. So I just fell in love with the music, man. Just fell in love with it.
And when you said as well that you actually got into Spanish music as well, I have to ask, did you actually know the language, or did you learn the language as you were making the music?
Yeah, when I got to A.B.'s house the first time, and he had me try out, I didn't know zero of Spanish, maybe sí y no. Ahora sí yo estoy hablando mucho español because I have to do interviews and stuff. I can talk fluent Spanish, but back in 1997, when I pulled up to his house and tried out, the first one I ever tried out, and he had me read it. So the first one I ever tried out was Donde Quiera que Estés with Selena and the Barrio Boys. So it was really like, I would have to shake it off, a little bit. Plus it was in Spanish, so it was like the nerve-wracking stuff. But I ended up being able to, God bless me, to be able to read it. Now the songs, if I was singing something in Spanish, it might have been singing it happy, and it was really sad, So I was singing Fuiste Mala. Fuiste Mala is a song about, she did me wrong, and I was singing it happy, like, Fuiste. No, it's a sad song. So at the beginning, I didn't understand what the lyrics meant. I was fortunate enough to be able to read it, and man, it just all fell domino effect from there, man. I learned, and now I can speak fluent Spanish. And understand every piece of it from here to Puerto Rico to Bolivia to Ecuador, you name it. I'm there with it, yeah.
And I gotta say, man, even back in the early days, man, you actually, it sounded so like what I'm trying to say is it sounded so original, man. It sounded like you were just born with that accent, man. So it definitely came natural.
There's a guy there, Luigi Geraldo, that was the engineer, and in Mexico, when you sing Spanish, you got to be fluent. You got to say everything correct. So it was, there was some twisters there, but I was able. They had patience with me. My boy Luigi, me and him would be stuck in the studio for months at a time doing the first album. So it would take me. Sometimes it would take 20 takes to get one line. Just learning the Spanish, but it got done well. The whole album got done well. It took about 2 months. it wasn't that much trouble, but it was a bunch of cake of some words that I couldn't pronounce, you know. But yeah, they make sure that when it gets onto the CD and pressed up and everything, that everything sounds fluent. So yeah, they make sure of that.
And also as well, February 27th of 2001, the Kumbia Kings actually released the iconic studio album titled Shh, that actually charted the Latin Billboard albums chart for 6 consecutive weeks. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a story behind this iconic record. And of course, what was it like just working with the rest of the members and putting this record together?
Yeah. You know, the album has, that album, at first, it's because I had got, back in the day, when I used to smoke marijuana back in the day, they had busted me before, and I got caught with some marijuana, just a little bit of it. That's when it wasn't legal. And so all the press and everybody would talk stuff about it and stuff like that. And, you know, Kumbia Kings was supposed to be a boy band following Selena. So, you know, they kind of took it like bad boy guys. But it gave us that bad boy image. But that song was dedicated to, like, all the press and all that. Like, it's called... And that's where the album cover, the title of it came from. But the whole album, the listeners don't know, it's with A.B. Quintanilla and Selena's brother, and Frankie J is also the singer with me. Okay. I don't know what that was, but somebody's going to down me out. Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you great. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, so that album was just created just like that, man. And everything, you know, A.B. and Cruz were put together. They made it to fit they made it to fit whatever feeling they were in at that moment, because thank God that there's no boundaries here. Like, we could do reggae, we could do rap, we could do ballads, we could do cumbias, we could do hardcore, because I'm a little versatile with it, so you're able to hit every area with it. So that album has a little bit of different styles of everything. The first album, which is I'm One Your Respeto, that album has a lot of singing in it. There was some reggae stuff, but when you end up going into that has a little bit more fast stuff like Boom Boom, and those have a little bit more flow to it. But yeah, it's just amazing, man. It's an amazing work of art that we have down. Thank Jesus, it's still going to this day. We're still on tour. We're going to Bolivia, as a matter of fact, for the next 2 weeks. We just got back from selling out the arena there in Monterrey, Mexico. We still out the arena, Monterrey. So it's still going. Thank you, Jesus, that the people are still there. They're still ready to listen, and we give them a great show.
And I have to ask, well, when you actually said you sold out Mexico and whatnot, I have to ask, what is the COVID situation like in Mexico? Are they completely like mask-free and mandate-free, or are they just living normal lives?
No. Actually, no, they're not. They're a little bit more strict than we are, actually. They, I mean, you know, they're letting everybody go into the stadium and stuff, but when you go into the stadium, you have to have your mask, you have to have your, they check your temperature. Of course, all the regular stuff that they do, but everywhere you go, you have to wear a mask. Like in the United States, here in San Antonio, you can walk around without a mask. It's not mandatory. Over there, it's mandatory still. So you cannot walk into the mall or anything like that. So, you know, it's still dangerous, man. It's everywhere. It's going to be everywhere.
And I gotta say as well, man, it definitely is phenomenal that even this day and age, with the pandemic, you guys are still selling out shows and whatnot, man. I can't wait for them Canadian borders to open back up so you guys can come down here.
Oh, man, most definitely. You know, the thing is, you know, if they were to tell us to stop, we'd be quick to stop in a heartbeat, just to keep everybody caution and keep the precautions going. And you know, we tend to, there's a lot of us in the band, there's 20 of us, all the band members and dancers and all that. So it's a big production and a lot of guys. So we all tend to wear our masks, and we try to keep us as careful as we can. So we're still following all the rules, and we're still doing what we got to do. You know what I'm saying? But we're enjoying it, man. Everything is still on fire. Thank you, Jesus, and we're going out there and just wrecking shop.
And also, as well, in the year 2003, you actually decided to pursue a solo career as well. I was wondering, what actually made you decide to actually then leave the group and of course, you know, sign with that huge label and actually, you know, go solo?
Yeah, well, you know, at the beginning, you know, I was signed with AB / King about like 5-6 years, I see Frankie J had left, and Frankie J had signed with Tommy Mottola. He signed with I think it was Sony at the time. He signed with him, and he was blowing up. And then I seen my boys K1 were blowing up, and so I was the only one left there. And you know, at that moment, when you don't own something, you don't own the name, and you don't own any of the organization part of it. You're the main singer, but you know, you don't own any of it. You start to thinking, and you start getting people knocking on the door, and lawyers, and bigger. There's a bigger movement out there for you if you know if you're not happy here. And I was happy with the Kumbia things, but there was a bigger opportunity came my way. So you know they wanted to sign me to Capitol Records. It was triple the money. It was my own stuff. It wasn't going through AB. It was going through me. So, you know, I had to take the opportunity at that moment. You know what I'm saying? I told the guys, you know, I'm going to go ahead and try to pursue my own solo career. And they were able to continue, and I went and did my thing and became the businessman that I am today, because at that, when I was with Kumbia Kings, you know, they don't teach you how to be that businessman. They teach you're the elite vocalist, you learn it as you go, but when you go solo, there's no way out. But you have to learn how the business goes. I'm talking about from all your masters and learning how to, you know, everything that's out there to make money. They don't teach you that. So all your percentages and all that. And so I had 100% percentage of everything at the moment. And I went on to have 3 albums with EMI Capital. It did pretty good for me. And then once it was over, I went back with AB, and we did another album. But this time I went in, you know, with you know, we had to sign papers and make sure everything was on point. This time I went in with a business head on my shoulders, and you know, everything turned out great, man. Everybody's happy, and we ended up doing an album with him, and it's crazy, man. It just continues going. Thank you, Jesus.
And I gotta say as well, my favorite album out of those 3 is actually your self-titled album that actually dropped in 2004, and if I'm not mistaken, it was actually nominated for Urban Album of the Year as well.
Yeah. It was the first album that was done with, was able to work with Backstreet Boys. I was able to work with Luis Fonsi, Claudia Grant, which Claudia Grant is an amazing writer. She writes for, you name it, she writes for them, from Luis Fonsi to Mana, Dan Rubin as well. So what we did is we locked ourselves in a studio with a crew that did not know nothing about Kumbia. They'd never done an album in Kumbia. So that's why the first album has a weird vibe to it. It's not like fully Mexicano Kumbia like the way Kumbia can do it. It has more of a urban Kumbia style to it, for the fact that these guys didn't know nothing about Kumbia. And that was the whole thing. That was the whole the idea and the plan from EMI and myself was to go in there with people that don't play Kumbia and create an album. And that's what you got from there. The ones that do sound like Kumbia is the ones that I produced. There's a couple of them on there, but the rest of them was done by Luis Fonsi, Claudia Grant, Jen Rubin, and like I said, they've never done Kumbia before, so they just kind of we went with our own flavor on that one, man. It was amazing, and then working with Howie D from the Backstreet Boys, and it was a great album.
And I gotta say as well, that was actually next in my question list pertaining to the production work and the written work that you actually did with Howie D. I was wondering, how did yourself and Howie D get connected and actually come together? Because I gotta say, you guys together on that production work was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it was crazy. You know, Howie D just he was part on the lyrics, and the lyric part of it. Jen Rubin had presented it to me at the time. And I was listening to it, I was like, wow, you know, that's amazing. And Luis Fonsi, myself, and Jen Rubin and Howie D helped write as well. And if you can listen to it, there on the background vocals, you have the guys singing it too. From the Backstreet Boys, there's some guys doing the background vocals. That's why they came out so amazing. So it was crazy. It was just an opportunity that was there at the moment. Because when you go to LA and Hollywood, and you're sitting with big producers, you can see Usher walk through the door. You can see you know, depending on where you're at, the Hit Factory or whatever, you see all kind of artists walking through there. So it was like nothing, pretty much. They come up to you, I got this song here, you know, if y'all are willing to just production after all production, and just kind of mingling, you know what I'm saying? Just being out in L.A. and just kind of working with all kind of producers that's what brings all that to the table. It's kind of crazy.
And also as well, jumping ahead the timeline a little bit, on September 25th of 2020, yourself and Baby Bash actually collaborated on the phenomenal single Quand la main. I was wondering, how did yourself and Baby Bash actually originally get connected? And of course, can you tell our listeners the story behind this recording session of this phenomenal song?
Yeah, no doubt. So me and Bash, with South Park Mexicans in 1998, we connected. I would hang out with Dope House Records all the time. This is before Bash had anything. He didn't have no hit. He was under South Park Mexicans boom at the time in 1998, I think. So me and Bash, we clicked, man. We clicked. He would come stay at my house. I would go stay at his house in 1998, 1999, and we have like 2 albums together. We did a crap load of records, just messing around, and I ended up doing one song with him in Happy Peace that was called. I did one with South Park Mexican that's called Feria, and then I did one with Lone Star Riders, which was Happy Peace movement, and then I did one with Bash called Keep It On the Cool. Right? So that song right there was blowing up. That's the first song I did with Baby Bash, because you got to remember, Kumbia Kings at that time in 1998 were number 1. Were all over the charts, were blowing up. So for them to get a song with me on there was pretty hard at the moment, because we were blowing up at the time, and it was all over. So, and Bash didn't have a name for himself at that time. So I jumped on Kick on the Cool, and Charles Chavez, which is Pitbull's manager now and Frankie J's manager, used to be. He was there, and he was the one that was pushing people on the cool, and it was blowing up so much that, I don't know, from some out of left field, some papers came to Charles Chavez, and they told him, to take off the album, the record, because I was signed with Capitol, and it was a mess. They had to take it down because it was blowing up so much. Well, me and Bash, from there on, we continued to have our relationship, man, but unfortunately it wasn't able to work. So Frankie J got out the contract, and he ended up working with Bash, and that's how they got Sugar. But they didn't know each other. I introduced all these guys together, and look what they did. Sugar, they're still working together from this still to this day. But me and Bash, we decided to do a song again. So he didn't want to do a cumbia forever. He's always told me, man, I want to do a cumbia kind of hip hop. So we pulled up into the studio, and he had an idea of the cumbia, so we put the cumbia together, and we just wrote the lyrics right there, got the melody going, and it's a history from there. So, it was the first time he tried cumbia, but I think he did pretty good, man. He had a little flow to it. He put a little Baby Bash spice to it, you know what I'm saying? But it came out good. It's still moving a little bit. And, we continue. We got way more music coming as well. I work with everybody, man. I never, me and MC Magic have a lot of songs together as well. And I just love it. Me and Frankie J have songs together. So, as a matter of fact, we just came out on Frankie J's new album. There's a song called Back to Us, and that's Frankie J, myself, and the guys from the Kumbia Kings, Little Drew. So we're still working, man. Thank God.
And I gotta say, you guys are still going hard as well, man. You know what I mean? You guys are still pushing, like you said, putting out records. And August 13th of 2021, yourself and Dapper Don actually released a phenomenal 8-track album titled The Best of Both Worlds. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about this project, and of course,
that was all his. He wanted to do that with putting Spanish in together. So I just wrote, I went in there and just did some hooks for his album, and then he just ended up calling Best of the Both Worlds, because it's English and Spanish.
And also as well, I actually noticed that you have some West Coast dates actually coming up there on June 18th, where you're actually going to be taking over the Balboa Theater alongside MC Magic as well. I was wondering what can our listeners actually expect from this show if they do get some San Diego tickets, and of course, where can they get the tickets right now if they are available? Every time that me and MC Magic get together, it's always a great performance. For the fact that we have Sexy Lady. Sexy Lady was a big hit that came out on MC Magic's solo career after leaving MBK, and that song to this day is still getting played all over the place. It just never gets old. And so once if me and Magic are on the same lineup, you always get us doing that. You'll be able to hear that song live
together, because usually he does his shows at Jumando. When we come together and do that song, it's magic. So, you know, and the tickets, if I'm not mistaken, you can just you can go online. You can go check on DJ Kane online, and I'll post all the stuff there. Or you go to MC Magic Concerts, and you'll be able to drop in on the link there. But yeah, I mean, you'll be able to hear all the old stuff I sang with Kumbia Kings. You'll be able to hear some of the new stuff, and we always have surprises, man. You're gonna have to go check it out.
But I have to ask, Kane, what is next for yourself, other than these amazing concerts and, of course, you know, these amazing projects you actually got in the works? What is next for you? Is there anything we happen to miss that you still do want to talk about? We still got you here live on the Canadian airwaves this evening.
Yeah, you know, I'm still in here doing production in the studio. I got my album coming out, which is La Reina Kumbia. It's cumbias that sound like the old school Kumbia Kings, because all the Kumbia King fans steady ask for the songs like that. And there's nobody else that can really do it. I mean, they could produce it, but it won't sound like it because of the vocal. The vocal it takes a big part in the Kumbia King sound back when we were around hitting hard. So they always ask me to do stuff like that, and so I decided to go ahead and do an album that fits the format of Kumbia Kings at the beginning, with of course new sound, and then also I have a new new style of trap with cumbia that I'm putting together with some hip hop artists. So it's got like a weird fusion of trap, but I'm putting the things behind it. And it's kind of like it's a fusion, but it's working. It's working with all the guys that are rapping today. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm already like on my 6th song on that one. So yeah, just be looking out for DJ Kane, man, because we're coming. Kumbia Kings is also coming up with a new album. We're still on tour with the Kumbia Kings, and I'm still on tour as a solo artist as well. I'm doing both. And there's just a lot of stuff coming out. Thank you, Jesus, that I'm still working. Thank God that after 25 years, Kumbia Kings is still on tour. We're still all over the world. And, we're here to make noise. We ain't going nowhere.
And I gotta say, I'm definitely glad that you guys are still doing music, man. Before we actually part ways, DJ Kane, I gotta ask, man. This is the time in the interview where I give a chance for the individual to drop their social media handles. That way, just in case if our listeners are listening and they haven't had the opportunity to follow you.
Yeah, most definitely, man. You can go to DJ Kane Online, and that's for everything. That's for my for Facebook, for Instagram. You name it, that's what it's for. DJ Kane Online. So DJ Kane Online. DJ Kane Online.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, Kane, thank you so much for just giving us a bit of your time here this evening, man. It definitely was an honor and a privilege, man.
Thank you so much. Also, you can go to Official DJ Kane for the website to go and see that. We got a clothing line that came out, and it's pretty amazing. It's bandana. Right now we're on the bandana side of it, so it's a fluorescent bandana kind of style jumpsuit. So you can go to Official DJ Kane to go check that out on our website. But much love, man. Thank you for the invitation, man. I love it. Thank you.
Hey, you are most certainly welcome, Kane. Thank you so much for years of monumental music, man.
Yes, sir. Much love. God bless you, everybody. Much love, man. Keep safe.